I felt like I was a burden to my family, I felt like I was a burden to my girlfriend, that she'd been much better off without me. All this, like, just negativity.
It does take a long time. For me, it took about 2 years to actually find me again.
I knew straight away, I was like, oh, I'm not right.
What was going through your head then?
When we go to the bush, we slow right down to the pace of the bush.
I know from your book and from talking to you, it hasn't always been living the dream. All right, team, so welcome along to another Mental Hunts podcast. I'm pretty excited about today's podcast. I've got Sam Gibson here with us, aka Sam the Trap Man, as I say. Some of you may have read Sam's book. I have, and we all know that Sam's a conservationist, and we all hear all these podcasts on the amazing work that you're doing up in the Gibson region. But we're going to dig a little bit deeper into a darker side to you, Sam, and I hope you're open to that conversation, which obviously you are, you're here. There's a chapter in your book, chapter 12, and it really resonated with me, and I'm certain it resonated with a lot of people, so I'd love to explore that a little bit more with you and dig a little deeper. So yeah, welcome along, and yeah, do you want to just let people know what you're up to these days and where you're at, and we'll go on from there and talk about this time of your life.
Thanks, Glenn. What I'm up to today is up here in the beautiful Landsborough with you, going for a bit of a look for a tahr, which is pretty nice because I've never seen a tahr before in the wild. So I'm pretty excited about getting amongst those alpine hairy McClearys for a little bit. But yeah, what are we up to in life at the moment? So we're usually based up in Gisborne, and we manage the Eastern Field Link project, and I work with farmers around biodiversity and trapping and things like that. And what we're doing at the moment though is we're down on the West Coast where my wife's from. And so I'm doing the same thing down there on the West Coast. We took the kids down for a year, and we just wanted to show the kids how my wife was raised. So we're getting amongst the ponamu, looking for greenstone on the beaches and on the rivers, getting amongst the flounder and the whitebait. It's the absolute dream down there. So that's pretty exciting for us. Whole bunch of other adventures. Haven't been hunting as much as I would like to, but what I find about the West Coast is it's all that sort of coastal stuff, all that estuarine environment. So yeah, pretty excited about that. But we're also like running for Gisborne Council, and
yeah, I see that. I see your social posts. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I think it's the same as the mental health things, eh? So if we're not actively open to speaking on these things and actively open to leading in that space, then the conversation doesn't really happen, and the things that we need to happen don't happen. So yeah.
At that level, yeah. I wish you all the best for that. We're coming into that voting time now, isn't it? It's smack in the middle of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want it 100%, but when you get shoulder tapped by the aunties, you've kind of got to do it, right?
You've got nothing else to do with your time, Sam. Cool. So we all watch your social media. I do a lot, and I know lots of other people engage with you. And there's a quote you always use, and I love it: "Living the dream." But I guess we all get caught up on social and how good that person's life is. So I know from your book and from talking to you, it hasn't always been living the dream, and it's been a journey to get there, I suppose.
The origins of me using that phrase, living the dream, came out of Fiordland.
Yeah.
So you'd always get asked how you're doing, and it was like we were trapping in knee-deep snow. Like, there's a saying in the Fiordland, if it's not rain, it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were working some pretty harsh conditions, huts with no fires, middle of winter was just bloody horrible. And you come in from the bush and people are like, that would have been an amazing helicopter trip. And you know in yourself that you just like been through hell for 10 days. You come back and you'd be like, no, I'm just living the dream. It's the best job I've ever had. Yeah. And so like there's a scene, have you watched that movie Fury with the tanks? Like no. It's a war movie. They've got these tanks, and I think they're the last tank out of a whole battalion of tanks just sitting there. Everyone else has been blown up, and the SS are coming at them. And they're like, right team, we could either park the tank up and run for it, or we could just stay here and fight these guys because it's protecting the whole army behind us. And they all decide to stay there and fight. And And the head fella there, he goes, "This is the best job I've ever had," and everyone else like, "The best job we've ever had," and just into it.
Talk themselves into it. Yeah.
And for me, like I think that's a good analogy for like mental health. Even when we're like struggling, New Zealand culture,
Yeah.
we're living the dream, best job we ever had.
Yeah.
And to me, like that,
Power of positive thinking.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even when it's shit, we got to get it done.
And you said that when you were having, you're working in Fiordland, having rough days, wet and cold, but you were living the dream, because here you are still doing it. Not so much in Fiordland. You'd go back another day. You wouldn't do it any other way, really, would you?
I don't know about that, Like,
Okay.
Fiordland was pretty tough, I'm really proud of what we did now.
Yeah.
We were living in pretty rough conditions. It was freezing cold at night time. We used to slit the mattresses open with our hunting knives to stuff our sleeping bags inside them because it was just that cold.
Yeah, right.
We were always wet. We never had dry clothes. We weren't eating good food because you'd be out there for 10 days and we were getting paid peanuts, so you never got good food.
Yeah,
You get in from town and then you pick up your clean set of clothes. You'd only spend one night in town after a 10-day trip, and you'd be back out there. So it got to you after a while. Like Fiordland is the dream, but when you're living and working in those conditions and you don't get a break from it, it does get to you after a while. Yeah.
So we're at Fiordland now, which brings me to this. This is pretty much where it all sort of started. Your first phase of realising you had depression, I suppose. Is that correct, in Fiordland? Or when you left Fiordland, I should say?
I left Fiordland, moved up to Hawke's Bay, and I took a job managing the predator control for Cape Kidnappers Sanctuary.
Yeah.
And a few things weren't going right up there. Like they were making some. We'd gone from Fiordland, where we were kind of the cutting edge of predator control, the cutting edge of what our industry does. And I went to Cape Kidnappers Sanctuary, and they're cutting a few corners, and some of the birds we were trying to protect were getting caught in the traps. And the more I argued to try and get these traps sorted out, the more the boss said, no, we can't do that. And we're just catching more birds, and tuatara were dying, and takahe were going. It was an absolute shambles.
Yeah.
And I've got this weird quirk in my personality, Claire. I don't know if it's the same with you, but for me, a lot of how well I'm doing in the world is hooked up with how well I'm doing at work.
100%.
And I wasn't able to fix the bad things that were going on at work, and it just eroded my confidence and my well-being, really.
Yeah. Do you think the big shift from Fiordland back, because quite often a big change of lifestyle can trigger people to a bit of an unknown, I guess. When I know it's happened in my family and with myself, just having a big change of life, completely gone from all of a sudden everything was running rosy to shit. It's a bit of an unknown now, as well as the conflict of work and so forth.
When you come out of like the bush after a long stint, like maybe your raw trip, and you get back in your truck and you start driving and it feels kind of clunky and weird. Like that was what it was like coming to Hawke's Bay out of Fiordland.
That's a real good way of putting it.
You're surrounded by these beautiful mountains, and nature just fills up your cup every day. It sounds all hippie and stuff, but it does, you're around these beautiful surroundings, and then you kind of come out into farmland and Kānuka country and maybe some pine trees, and it doesn't have the same feeling to it, and it just felt alien. So I was a little bit like a fish out of water for a while.
Yeah. So and like you read in your chapter, you just got to a point and went bush early in the morning, packed up, went bush just to try and clear your head, which is something I've done. Like I say, I can relate to a lot of what happened to you. Oh wait, that. And when you went bush, like that's something I'd do quite a lot. I'd just be like, okay, I'll get up at all hours of the morning and climb a mountain just for the hell of it. And then you did the same. And how did that go for you? Because
like for me, it's always been my coping mechanism. When things aren't going right, I just go bush.
Yeah.
Because it sort of brings me back to balance. It's always kind of been the place where I can go and get back to myself and sort of centre and then carry on with life. And I knew I was struggling at work. I was struggling to drive up the driveway to work at that time, and a lot of days I wasn't going. I like never done this before in my life, and I started pulling sickies because I was like, I just was dreading going to work, and I did. I said to the girlfriend at the time, I was like, hey, I'm going hunting in the morning. So I packed up 4 o'clock in the morning, threw the dog in the truck, threw a rifle in the truck, and went bush to a place like that's one of my happy places, Stanfield Hut. I'd cut tracks out of that hut. I'd renovated that hut to make it like beautiful and like really modernised it. And I'd also done a couple of seasons possum trapping there. So it's like one of my happy places. I went in there in the morning and with the head torched on, started walking up the river flats, and I wasn't feeling anything, you know. I just felt numb and foggy and just like disconnected from the world, and I kind of didn't realise that I was depressed. I just thought things were going wrong at work, you know. Just kind of walking up the morning with the dog, and there's a deer there, and kind of the dog pointed it for me, and I felt this weird thing. I was like, oh, do I shoot it? Do I not? Usually I'm just like, oh, fill the freezer, bumper. But I kind of had this weird thing where I wasn't sure if I wanted to shoot it or not. And I ended up shooting it, going over to the deer. It had fallen in the creek, and the whole creek had turned red with its blood. And the dog, she was Moss, she didn't like gunfire very much, so she'd shot off into the bush, because she always points the deer, I shoot it, and then she's like, you get the bang, and she's like, oh, I'm out over here. And so I got these couple moments with the deer, and it just kind of crept up on me that like, that I hadn't intellectualized it that day, but I'd gone into the bush to end my life. And the dog came back over, and as soon as she turned up, and I kind of like was feeling that once I'd shot the deer, I was like, yeah, I'm no good. I'm no good at work. The conservation industry doesn't want me. DOC had changed their model so that they were using contractors, not DOC staff. And so I wasn't useful in the conservation industry anymore. I felt like I was a burden to my family. I felt like I was a burden to my girlfriend, that she'd be much better off without me. All this like just negativity. And this moment between shooting the deer, blood was flowing down the creek, and the dog coming back, I was ready to end it. And then my dog turned back up, and I'm bloody grateful to that wee thing.
So am I.
She's a GSP here. She turned up, and she looked at me and kind of like looked at the deer, and she's kind of came over and nudged herself into me, and I was like, fuck, I can't leave my, you know how emotional German short-haired pointers are? I was like, I can't leave my dog stranded in the bush by herself. Like, she's so emotional and dependent on me. Like, I'm sure she would have found her way back to the truck, but at the time it felt like I couldn't do that to her. I could do, it sounds really messed up, and I'm not proud of sort of saying it. Like, I could do it to my girlfriend, I could do it to my family, I could do it to my friends, because I felt like at the time I was alleviating a stress off of them, and they would feel better off for not having me around. And that makes me feel emotional and weird saying that now, but that's what was going on. And the reason I didn't top myself was because of that dog, and I didn't want to leave her in the bush. And that, all those justifications sound very strange now, but that's the space I was in.
Sounds strange when you say it, but to me, when you say it, I once again totally understand. You get yourself in a space where you actually feel like you're doing people a favour, but to have the opposite effect from an animal is so cool. And it's just such a, we always talk about, it's a good tool to have a pet when you're not very well, just something to look after, and it gets a bond with you. So yeah, I think there's a really important piece there. We do get a lot of people, I get a lot of people saying, and it still happens today, even though people say the stigma's getting better, that people that take their life are selfish. But when you're in that space, as you know, you're actually not doing it out of a selfish act. You're not thinking it out of a selfish, you think you're actually trying to do something to help people. And obviously you're in a bad way, but you're not doing it spitefully and just because you hate yourself or want to die. It's because I feel like a failure. This ain't working, that ain't working. I need to make life better for them, and this is the way to do it, which it isn't, clearly.
And I reckon too, bro, like, that is what mental health is. It's like you don't have a normal perspective on things. You don't have a perspective that is particular, well, it's got a different set of logic to it. So it's not like I just read a book on anorexia or whatever because I've got to do a chat at like a reader-writer festival or whatever, and it's about a young fella who had anorexia, and it was all that self-talk that he had to overcome because it was that his self-talk wasn't the same perspective as the world had on about him. It was his own perspective, and it was a little bit out of whack of how everyone else saw it. So for me, that's not where I'm at now, but like shit, like that self-talk at that time was pretty powerful. It was pretty hard to navigate.
What year was this? Like, how far back are we going to when this happened?
I'm no good at years, bro. I'm no good at years.
How old were you?
How old was I? I would have been 24, 25.
Okay.
Yep.
So a wee while ago.
Yeah. 10 years ago, something like that.
Okay. So it's a wee while.
10, 11 years ago.
Yeah. After that moment, you know, you had your tears by the... What was going through your head then? Were you still thinking, I know this needs to happen, or were you thinking, how am I going to get out of this? What was obviously you went to the hut and took the deer and...
I didn't go to the hut.
Did you not? Oh, okay.
I broke down crying in the creek and just sat there cuddling my dog for bloody ages.
Yeah.
And I was really embarrassed, you know, like I was like, shit, this doesn't happen to me. Like I'm a resilient fella. Like I'm a bushman. Like I come up in Te Uta when I fucking trap my way through Fiordland. Like this doesn't happen to me, you know? But it had. And so I ended up gutting that deer, throwing it on my back, carrying it out to my ute. Dog jumped in, front seat. She was west from walking up the creek. She sat on her sheepskin there, put her head on my knee as I drove home. And I was like, that dog, there's something about like unconditional love from a dog. She didn't care what was going on for me. She was just like, if you're going hunting, I'm coming hunting. If you're bloody driving home, I'm here with my head on your lap. Like she's just your mate. So I went home and I said to the missus, I said, oh, I'm not okay. She's like, I know. I was like, this is what's going on for me. I don't feel anything. Like I feel lots of bad things, and when I'm feeling better than bad, I'm not feeling anything. Like I'm just not feeling anything good. And she's like, yeah, we need to do something about it. She's like, I've been noticing for a while like things aren't good, but I've just been trying to support you and thought sending you bush is a good thing. And she was doing everything she knew how to do. And she said, how about you go see a counsellor? And up until that point, I was too proud to go.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me. I don't need a counsellor. And so I started going to see a counsellor, bro. And she sent me to the doctors too, and they're trying to, because there's a thing, to get time off work, you had to go to the doctor.
Get a letter.
To get a letter about mental health to get time off work. And I'm sitting there going, I'm a hunter, bro. Like I can't afford to lose my guns. And I was sitting there trying to...
Was that going through your head at that
100%.
time?
100%. Like I'm a hunter. That's how we eat. I was also doing quite a bit of like shooting work for work, on goats and things like that for work. And I'd done some chamois stuff out of the chopper and stuff like that. So it's like, if I lose my firearms, I'm not going to be able to exercise that part of work.
Did that question ever come up from anyone?
Not in the doctors, no. It was just all my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd had other guys in the hunting industry be like, bro, you might want to just be a little careful about navigating that. It's like, okay. Yeah. So going to the doctors thing and they start talking about drugs and things like that. Nah, don't want the drugs. I wasn't a guy that even took Panadol or anything up until that point. So I was like, don't want the drugs. Just real suspicious about that stuff. I don't want the drugs.
I went 30 years without it, man. I know how you're refusing.
In retrospect, might have been a good call,
Yeah.
but I didn't want the drugs. And so they gave me the time off work. I started seeing a counsellor. We went to a couple, and a couple of them weren't a good fit. And then after a while, I found this one bloke, and I was like, we could actually chat. And he was more of a life coach fella than a counsellor. Like, he wasn't somewhere you sit down and tell him all your problems. You sit down and be like, this is what's going on for me. Can you help me figure out the solutions? And he'd help me do that. And between my girlfriend and the counsellor, they were like, oh, figure out the things that just don't feel terrible at the moment. And so I just started gardening and looking after my chickens at home. And the girlfriend was like, oh, how about you don't work, don't hand in your resignation at work, but how about you do a teaching diploma for 1 year, because that's not too strenuous, and you can do it online from home, and that'll keep the money coming in.
Yeah.
So like, all right, I'll do the teaching diploma, I'll do my gardening, I'll look after the chickens and kind of keep the house a little bit. That's what I did.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, gardening's my thing, eh? Active, relaxing for me. It's just playing around, turning the dirt over, pulling weeds.
Yeah.
You've hit a few really good points, and I'm just going to step back to when you're in the bush. And a big part of what Mental Hunts is about is trying to say to people, you can get help. You're not necessarily going to lose your firearms license, and to use your firearms license as an excuse not to stay well is, in my mind now, in hindsight myself, it's just crazy. And people need to understand the options there and what they can do. And I've always said it, when you've stepped over that minor depressive disorder and it turns into where you got quite severely depressed at that point, everyone says, oh, but I need my guns because that's what I do for my mental health. And I totally agree. You know, it's a good way to manage your mental health, but it's not medicine. So when you're past that point, hunting sucks. Yeah, and when you're really not well, it's really hard to enjoy yourself out in the hills. So saying that getting in the bush for your mental health is what I need, I totally agree, and it is, and it's an important part of maintaining, your health and fitness. But avoiding getting help, all because you don't want to lose different when it's a career. There's situations, and there are options available now, and I tell a lot of people and talk a lot of people through to get help, and they have got help, and they haven't lost their firearms. I think just emphasizing that fact that if you think when you get into a really deep, dark spot that you're going to enjoy hunting to bring you right, it's not going to fix you. That's probably going to make you feel worse once you pass that point.
For me, it's the time in the bush that's positive, right? So for me, shooting something and killing something takes an emotional toll.
Yeah.
Like, that might just be me, but like for me, when I kill something, it takes a bit of an emotional toll. And when I'm down, when I'm not okay, I actually don't necessarily want to shoot something. So like after the cyclones in Gibson happened, I was emotionally exhausted. I could feel myself going on that same pattern, getting down, losing inspiration for life. My wife starts sending me bush because she knows I need to go bush to kind of like come back to balance.
Yeah.
I was carrying a rifle, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because actually taking something's life takes emotional energy. And so for me, it's the bush that builds me up, spending time in nature, in the ecosystem, because I reckon we mold to our environments. Like if we're in a city, our breathing speeds up, our mind speeds up, everything, we drink coffee, everything's just, and when we go to the bush, we slow right down to the pace of the bush.
Yeah.
And I think that's what resets me, and I feel like it's the same for a few other people as well. So when we go back to bush, we slow down.
Yeah.
There's good oxygen, there's good water we're drinking, the food's coming straight out of nature.
Yeah.
And so we come back to a place of balance within ourselves. I don't think it's the killing something that fills up our cup and brings us back to balance.
Yeah.
So for me, I think we can do the bush thing without a gun. That's just what I reckon.
No, I totally agree. And I myself started climbing hills, like, mountain running just to get in nature and get a good sweat up. And I needed to burn out, so it's very similar but different. That going out a lot of people go, oh, there's no way I'm going bush without my rifle, but you'd be surprised. It's pretty damn cool.
Well, the thing for me is like a lot of the times when I'm starting to get a little bit low, I'll just say to the boys, hey, let's go hunting, and they know what that means now.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna take my camera this trip.
Yeah.
And so I'm still hunting.
Yeah. And I guess like back when you went and saw the doctors and the fear of losing licenses, it was a lot different. We didn't even have the Firearms Safety Authority then, and there's a long way to go there. And I'm not saying that they're doing everything perfect, because there's a lot of things I'm still working through, trying to encourage change and different options. But we at least have a self-surrender option now, which still means you can shoot a firearms under supervision. And there's some people, I mean, if you're really sick, you need to get help. We don't want everyone, regardless of mental health, having a firearms. But if you're actively doing things about it, step away from your rifle. If you're in a really bad place, step away. Get a good group of friends around you. You can still go out in the raw hunting. You can still shoot a rifle. You can still do all the things you love, but you can focus on you, as opposed to when they come and take it off you and you're in no control. You've got to wait 5 years. You can't touch a gun. It actually puts you in a really dark place. So being transparent, getting the help you need, talking to the Firearms Safety Authority, telling them what's going on and the systems you have in place actually works in people's favour. A lot of people think if they go to the GP or the doctor, instantly going to be a red flag and they're never going to get the gun. And it's not the case anymore.
I was real lucky because my girlfriend's mother was a firearms officer in Hawke's Bay. Yeah. And I was real lucky, because she could talk me through it. And she goes, whenever you're feeling, like after I'd come back from the bush that day and I kind of all of a sudden woke up to things weren't okay, she was like, you can just bring your guns to me and I'll just hold on to them. Yeah. And when you want them back, and we as a family know you're doing all right, it's fine. You can have them back.
And that's still a thing now, and it's encouraged. If I was to go to the doctor, if I was really having a downturn, I'd probably hit up a friend and just say, hey guys, can you just store my guns? Or if you're seeing a friend's having a hard time and you want to get into the doctor and they say, oh man, I'm having a hard time, I'm not going to the doctor, I can't lose my guns, I need it for work or whatever. If you just encourage them to store it for a while they go and get the help they need. And what it does is if the doctor asks the question, do you have a firearms license, you're going to say, yeah, I do, but I've stored my firearms elsewhere just because it's my responsibility. And it is a responsible thing to do. It is a responsibility to own a firearms in your house. And so doing that actually puts a real good green tick in you regardless.
And I've done that for a few families since now where fellas have been it's interesting with this Instagram thing, eh? Yeah. Fellas have reached out in my local area and been like, can you just hold on to this for me? And we're going, okay, that could either mean a multitude of things, but okay. Yeah. And then
that's awesome that they're doing that. I really am stoked to hear that.
And then it's interesting, eh? There's this weird thing where I've always checked in with the wife and been like, hey, how is he doing? Because if he's asking for them back, I'm like, okay, but checking with the wife, how's he doing?
That's the only problem storing guns, and people need to be aware. You then put a responsibility on yourself. Yeah. If they're rocking up at your house at 9 p.m. saying, hey, I want my rifle, I'm going shooting, it's like, are you? Yeah. How about I come with you or something? It can put people in a bit of a situation, but it's a better situation to be in a bit of control of it when you're in a better frame of mind than they are. So that's really cool that you've had some people reach out to you to store guns. A lot of people are too proud to do it, which is, I really encourage people to do it as much as you can if you feel like you need to. Even if you got no thoughts about your firearms, just do it anyway. It's just it's one thing you don't have to worry about, and it's a positive thing for yourself if you go to the doctor.
And it's something, I think, if mental health's a bit of a thing for you, it's actually something that when it does come up, you can be like, well, I've got a history of being proactive, talk to this person, I've done this with this person, and it shows that you're positively managing that yourself.
And that's what the authorities want to see. If you've got a history and a plan and ways to manage things, if you're going to the counsellor every week, doesn't mean you're going to lose your license. That's good. You've got systems in place. It's just that initial one. I guess they've got to act until they know otherwise. And I guess a big thing is not lying to them, because they will find out. And they don't have access to all your medical history like people think they do. I've since found out they only have access to that one. If you go in for a reason, that one particular reason is all they have access to. So, there's no access to all your medical records from way back. It's only from that situation that they'll work on a case by case.
That's real interesting, eh?
Yeah, because there's a lot of misinformation. And then the other one is about the medication, I'm a bit like you. I refused medication my whole life, but I drank a shit ton of piss. But now I don't drink any piss and I'm on medication. And I really wish I got on it earlier. And it worked for me, and I know it doesn't work for everyone, but I've got my license, and I got my license back after having it revoked on medication while seeing counsellors. So all those myths, people just need to understand. But I mean, these authorities need to be risk adverse, because if something did go wrong, we're going to be the first ones to throw stones at them, aren't we? So, there's two sides to it, but there is a real balance that needs to come, but I think we just need to build that trust back. And we're slowly getting that with what we're doing, but with the stories I'm hearing from people, there's a lot of positive outcomes coming from this, from people seeking help, not losing their firearms. Of course, there's going to be questions, just like your driver's license. If you start have an injury, you're going to have a few questions about your driver's license. Even sleep apnea is an issue for driving,
And, like I've got mates who have come far. I won't throw names on this, but like I've got mates that have come from a meth habit background, a meth dealing background, gone to jail, got clean in jail, come back, got custody of their kids. It's taken them 6 years to work through, and then finally they've got their firearms license back.
Yeah, even after all that.
You can be a meth head, a meth dealer, go to jail, turn your life around, and still get your firearms license back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that, like, as long as we're doing positive steps, it's gonna come right.
Yeah. The other interesting thing you mentioned earlier is how, and I'm really proud for you that you did it, because a lot of people won't, is you went to a counsellor, didn't work. You went back, tried another one, didn't work, and then finally you found the right counsellor. And the amount of people that say to me, I went to a counsellor, it was a waste of time, I'm not doing that again. It's like, no, you need to find someone that you could happily sit down around the dinner table and eat dinner with. And until you find that, it's not going to work. And for you to do that is a big deal, because you've got to tell your story 3-4 times over to get the right person.
It's like getting a builder or a plumber or anything like that, right? Like there's guys that are good, and then there's guys that can get your vision, and there's guys that don't. Yeah. And so you just got to find the right one.
Not give up. And that's the biggest thing.
For me, I've had 2 good ones, and I've probably gone through 6 or 7 ones that I just didn't fit, like, shout out to Bruce. If bloody Bruce is watching this, Bruce and Gizzy, like,
Bruce and Moss, I reckon.
Bruce and Moss, mate. Like, I don't even remember the fella's name in Hawke's Bay, but he's a good bugger too. But like, Bruce now, he's my counsellor I go to. I might go for a period of time every couple of years. Like, after I had the Cyclone Gabriel came through, that hit me real hard. Then I had a mate pass away in a surf contest that I was running, and it was like within the same month, and it just hit me for 6. Yeah. And I knew straight away, I was like, I'm not right. Yeah. So call up Bruce.
Yeah.
Can we do a couple of sessions? Yeah. Yep. We'll put it through. Is it PSA through work?
Yeah. Something like that.
It's whatever it is.
I know what you mean.
It's not PSA. That's the bloody.
No, it's not PSA. It's
You know what I'm saying. Through work, you get like 6 free sessions or whatever. And so he was like, we can whack that through your work, 6 free sessions. And we just sat down and kind of he just talked through how to give me the tools to navigate what I was up to. And I think the medication thing's interesting as well, bro. Like, I stopped drinking now.
Yeah.
Like, there's an old fella, Keith with no teeth. He was in Te Urewera. As a young fella, he explained mental health to me, and I didn't know I was having mental health explained to me. He goes, wait, you got to get yourself off this alcohol and these drugs. Because it's like the mist, right? When it comes at you, you can't see what's coming, and you're defensive. And the reason you're defensive is you can't see 2 or 3 meters in front of your face, so you're not sure if there's a threat there or not. That sums up how I was feeling when I was depressed and how I was acting towards my family and friends when I was depressed. He goes, when you get the fog out of your brain from the alcohol and the drugs, then it's like the mist clearing and you can see further.
Yeah.
And because you can see further
cool.
and you can see more clearly, you don't have to be defensive and you can act with generosity to those around you. And for me, that's the same with that depression piece.
Yeah.
And the alcohol and the drugs, they bring in the fog.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I was self-medicating with alcohol when I was a younger person,
Yeah.
it just created more of a fog on top of the depression fog, and it wasn't good. So
Yeah.
for me, the things that work for me is getting off the alcohol, getting off the drugs, doing the physical exercise, eating really clean, all of those sort of self-care things. That's, as soon as I start to feel down, I'm like, okay, I need to start eating fruit and vegetables. I need to do exercise. I need,
You start seeing the things that are causing it, and I totally agree with that food. Like, I ate crap through winter, and I felt like crap.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know what I've got to do.
Yeah.
But whereas previously, I'd just keep eating crap and feeling crap, and then drink piss, and
Yeah.
it's just a cycle of doom until you're in a hole. That's awesome, man. I like that analogy of that you were given with the fog and alcohol and seeing through it. It's so obvious when you hear it. So.
But he's just an old bushman, eh? He was like, didn't really realise he was explaining it to me, but he was.
Yeah. So, and it's obviously been a long journey. Like you even sort of mention it on the book, that it's not an overnight fix. It takes time. Like when you make that decision to get better, and you didn't get on medication, it does take a long time. For me, it took about 2 years to actually find me again, and a new me. It was a completely different me. I don't know how long it took for you, but you really stipulate how it took a long time.
Yeah, and that's ongoing, brother. Like, but it was interesting, eh? Like, you know that girlfriend I had that kind of like supported me through that time?
Mm.
We both woke up one morning, because like, it's real interesting, eh? Like, when I got depressed, my sex drive just disappeared.
Mm.
And so we were like living in a house, same bed, but kind of as mates for a couple of 2-3 months. And it was like, and then she woke up one morning, it's like, well, we still love each other, but we're not in love, are we? I was like, no, I really care about you, but we're more mates at this point. She goes, we should probably break up, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, like, I get it. Like, do you reckon this is fixable? And she's like, I don't know if it is.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no. And I knew it wasn't, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not. You're 100% right. And so she's like, I want to stay here because my family's here. Why don't you go back to Gisborne? And I was like, okay, I'll go back to Gisborne. That sounds good.
Mm.
We figured out the car situation and split up our house for a while. And I moved to Gisborne. And now that you mention it, like maybe it was rebuilding out of depression, but it coincided with me rebuilding out of a 7-year relationship as well.
Yeah.
So I moved to Gisborne. So I was only starting to grasp the things that felt okay-ish. Like I started to go surfing again, and I was like, this doesn't feel bad. Like it doesn't feel good yet, but it doesn't feel bad. And I went trout fishing. I was like, this doesn't feel bad either. And I started to like focus on those things that didn't feel terrible and just keep doing them until they started to feel good. But it took a good couple of years, and I created that project, the Eastern Fuel Link Conservation Project, and it allowed me to put my everything into something to recreate me, but also to recreate my value in the world and recreate my value in the conservation industry.
And haven't you done well there? That's just...
I mean, we're pretty proud of what we've done, but I think having that project to put my all into and re-establish my self-confidence and self-worth was really... I probably haven't told that story of Eastern Fuel Link before as far as like helping me navigate my way through mental health.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that really helped. Had a good bunch of mates around me.
Yeah.
And it really built up who I was in my own mind again.
Yeah. Yeah. And mental hunts is essentially that for me. It's my why, and I get so much joy out of the people that come to me and say thanks so much for opening this conversation or giving us something, and just giving people somewhere to go confidently and talk. And I mean, I guess for you it was the conservation's your thing. That's you as a whole. That's your why. That's what you do. And to have that project to have focus on, I totally understand. It's almost like the working in the garden. It's your happy place. And this is where I'm in the building industry, and my heart and soul and my passions in this and trying to change this narrative. I grew up with a father with depression, and it was harsh. Like if we had friends turn up, we'd be whispering around, "Don't tell them Dad's home. Don't tell them Dad's in bed." And I'm making noise now because my poor old man, we just silenced it, and it was just a shit way of living. And I want my kids to grow up knowing it's okay to talk about it. It is okay to go to the doctor. Forget about your firearms. Forget about all this stuff. Get help, because my life is so freaking awesome now. I love it. And I think if I had made those mistakes twice in my life, I mean, I wouldn't even have my kids. I wouldn't be here. So I hadn't even met my wife at that stage.
On the same,
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have kids at that time, and I guess that's probably one of the big contributors to how I navigate things now. Like, I can't disappear. Like, at that time, I had a girlfriend and a dog, right?
Yeah.
I had like my family and stuff, but like if I exited, I didn't have as big a responsibilities. Now it's like if I exit the scene now, it's like I've got 2 beautiful kids. It's just not an option.
Yeah.
But I think that thing you mentioned too, like, do you reckon depression and mental health has whakapapa through families? Because like, I don't want to tell my family stories because they're their stories to tell. But like, I've definitely got depression in our immediate family as well. We got people that do take the medication for it, and it's a big deal, but it definitely seems to run through our family,
Yeah, I mean, I am definitely no doctor, and there's no science behind what I say, but I have heard people talk about depression being hereditary, because I've had no bad life myself. And that's what baffles me the most. It's like, why am I depressed? Why did I get depressed? Why did I not want to be here? Because, some people get beaten and all sorts of things as kids. I had an awesome family. So, yeah, I personally do believe it's hereditary, but I also believe, in my own opinion, there's not a person on this earth that hasn't had some sort of mental health issue. And I guess this brings me to a point of, this is why I have such an issue with going to the doctor. They say, oh, mental health issues, firearms notification, because mental health is so broad. We're talking, is it just anxiety? Is it PTSD? Is it an eating disorder? I mean, if you've got an eating disorder, you could lose your firearms. What difference does that make if you're no threat to everyone? So it comes under a massive umbrella, and we're slowly tying it in, and this is where we talk about it's case by case. So, a minor depressive disorder is not going to cause any issues, but I don't think there's a person in this world that hasn't had some sort of mental health issue, because it's such a broad term. And hereditary wise, 100% I believe it is. I'm a bit like you. I'm open to talking to my father. There's other people in my family that I won't talk about, but I've had the go from mum, and she's proud of what we're doing and trying to achieve. And yeah, I was actually quite lucky when we did Corner Peak. They actually spread Dad's ashes up the top.
Yeah, it's pretty special,
for him. Yeah, making a lot of noise for him, and yeah, so he sits up there with a nice view up the Hunter. So
yeah,
but yeah, like I say, I'm no doctor, but just from lived experience and people I've met, generally does come in the family. And I guess that's the point we really want to emphasise to people is, even the authorities are saying, get help early. If you start feeling a bit down, get help. There's no issue at that point. You leave it for 5 years, you've got a big problem because you've not managed it and you haven't spoken to anyone, and it gets harder to manage and harder to get back on track.
For me, it's about developing skills as well, and that's where I want to go with that family side of things. Is like, I know from my journey that the skill sets I gained off that that first tough episode with the dog and the deer and the bush, and then like the skill sets I gained through that, and then now when that sort of crops up, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, and if that's not working, then I need to do this and this, and I've got a wider skill set to be able to deal with it. But I think that skill sets are also present in families through multi-generations. Like we build our family cultures and we build the skill sets that we hand on to the next generation. And I feel like for us, probably the generations above, and it sounds similar to your story too, Glenn, like the generations above didn't talk about it. They didn't sort of train the next generation in how to navigate those things that are going to be present in our families, right? So for me, like one of my grandfathers he drank a lot. Like we didn't say alcoholic, but he drank a lot, you know, lovely man, like one of my most inspirational men. He achieved a lot in the world. Depression's a thing in our family, you know, cancer's a bit of a thing in our family. All of those things are things that we know that our generation has to have the skill sets to navigate, but the generations prior didn't teach us those things. So it's, for me, it's like, how do we teach our kids the skill sets around mental health, the skill sets around how to navigate cancer and how to set yourselves up financially to be able to deal with it. The financial piece around mental health is fascinating. Like, okay, I know that I need to be able to have the financial resilience to be able to step out of work for 3 months. Because if it gets really bad, I'm going to need to be able to step out of work for 3 months. How do we know that actually in our family, that's what financial wealth looks like? There's a whole lot of skill sets we need to be able to teach our next generation about how to navigate these things.
100%. And what we're doing right now and what you're openly talking about your story is hugely powerful, and I've seen it firsthand with other episodes we've done, and people are still reaching out to the other guys, and you know, I can guarantee you're going to have people come knocking on your door. You probably already have with your book. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, the book thing was interesting. I really hummed and hard about putting that chapter in there.
Yeah, you said that.
I was really nervous about it. I didn't want to have the stigma associated with mental health and my name. I thought, no, that's a personal thing. That's something I'm not sure I want to share. And then I thought, I don't know why, but I just threw it in there. And I did. And since then, since putting the book out, a lot of people have been like, bro, that's my journey almost to a T. And people were going, oh, you allowed me to talk about it. Or like, well, I'll be at a book event and they come up and they want to yarn. And it's like, or they'll reach out on Instagram. And it's real fascinating. I think I'm struggling at life and I'm a bit of a stuff up in many respects, you know, like I'm not great at anything really. And then you have other people reaching out to you like, oh, I'm just trying to figure it out myself, team. But I think that's the beauty of it, is like everyone is just trying to figure it out. No one's an expert. We're all just trying to navigate this big thing. And the more we talk about it,
and that's the most important thing. You don't have to fix people. And when we say it all the time, you know, just listening is key to helping someone. You know, I quite regularly just flick out how you going, texts and messages at night. Just people I haven't spoken to in about 6 to 12 months. Just, hey, I haven't spoken to you for a while, thinking about you, hope you're well. Man, it just opens up thanks so much. And I've had it happen to me, and it was the best thing ever. And I just know how good an impact it had on me. So some majority of them, if not all of them, reply, and it's such a positive thing for somebody. And sometimes I've done it, and it's like, you just text me at the right time. I was having a shit time, and I just listen, and I don't have answers. What works for me and what works for you is not going to work for Ned. It's not going to work for your neighbour, but it's just grabbing little tools and, like you say, or you know, little experiences that are going to help you. And what I've found is I've got things that really work well for me, but if I overindulge in those, they go stale, and I start going, why is this not working? I've really got to mix it up and get variety. It's okay, I'm going to just walk away from that climbing Mount Iron every day, and I'm going to go to the gym for a while, or I'm going to go to the sauna, or I'm going to go jump in the lake for a week, and just mixing it up, little things that work, but they do get stale for me sometimes.
That's really interesting, eh?
I can't just, there's no one, this is what I do every time. Every time I'm having a downtime. And sometimes my wife's like, okay, but like, go bush. So, you know, I just haven't got the energy to go bush. I've just got to I've just got to sit this out for a day. I know it'll pass, but in the meantime, I just need to figure out what to do. And sometimes for me at the moment is going to the local sauna. I'm loving it.
Sauna's a great, eh?
Yeah, hit the sauna, jump on the lake, hit the sauna, jump on the lake. It's just reset me.
Yeah.
And now I'm about to crank up at the gym again. I've had a pretty relaxed winter.
You've been working on the dad bod as well, fella.
Yeah, we have. Climbed corner peak 53 times and then just went.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this place. Look, it looks pretty steep, so looking forward to getting some sweat up.
Yeah.
But I reckon that piece you said around reaching out to your mates is a big one, eh? Like, I've got a rule with a lot of the lads. I've got a bunch of lads that I might talk to like 3 or 4 times a year properly, but like those messages every like month or so is kind of, I've got a rule too. Like, in New Zealand we ask people how you going, fella? And it's just like saying hello. And the correct response to that is, yeah, no, I'm good.
Living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. And it's like, I've tried doing this thing over the last couple of years, like, how are you, Glenn? And you'll be like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I'm like, yeah, but how are you really, fella? Yeah. And like, that gives permission to whoever you're asking that to actually tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Because people don't, like, as a person, I never want to burden you with what I'm going through.
100%.
You know, so when you ask me how I am,
I'm
gonna say I'm good.
Yeah.
Say I'm living the dream. And then when you ask me how am I going really, I'm like, oh, you actually genuinely want to know. And we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like a rule now with the lads. How are you? How are you really?
Yeah.
Because the first one's not enough sometimes.
No, you're right, eh? And you know, and quite often I've got it to a point where it's like, far out, this person's actually having a hard time. It's like, right, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's grab a coffee.
Yep.
And that's the first thing I'll do. And then if it's a case of trying to encourage them to go to the doctor, I'll take them, or, you know, just talk through it. I don't ever try and fix anyone. And it's an analogy I use in all my talks is, you know, first aid's the same. We all get a first aid certificate, and that's so that I can just keep you alive until I can get you to the professionals. I'm not a surgeon.
Yep.
And mental health's the same. You're not expected to be a counsellor or a psychologist. You're just there to support and help people until you can get the professionals in, you know, and stand by them. You know, a lot of people walk away from people with mental health issues, whether they know they're having them or not, and it's like, oh, there's something wrong with this guy, he's crazy, I can't deal with this anymore. It's like, they can't deal with it anymore either. It's a small sacrifice to help someone through.
I'm guilty of that myself though.
Yeah.
There's a mate of mine, I don't even know if he's a mate still, but he's gone through many different episodes, and I stepped away from him to keep my family all right. And I felt bloody terrible doing it, but he kind of ended that relationship by saying some pretty gnarly things pretty publicly.
Yeah.
And so like, I've been that guy. I've stepped away from someone and be like, bro, I'm investing way too much energy in this and it's not getting better anytime soon. And that's hard. And I shouldn't have, but I did. I've been that guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I've got lads who now we've got a bit of a thing where it's just like, you know, if something's not going right, you can be like, bro, I need to go for a walk, I need to go for a hunt. Are you up for it? And the crew will just be like, yep, we're on.
Yeah.
And usually we just go and talk about shit.
Yeah.
Just have a vent, you know? But it's interesting that stuff, like, it's an interesting thing. Like, I feel like you can't take on board other people's stuff too.
No.
Because otherwise it gets too big. So with that fella that, he actually reached out to me the other day on social media and was like, bro, I've moved regions, I'm doing way better with my mental health, da-da. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I felt it was a real conscious decision at the time because it was starting to get me down, starting to take energy out of my family. And I was like, I got these 2 kids and a wife. This is impacting my family situation. I was like, I needed to be able to step out, and he wasn't prepared to get the help from the professionals.
Yeah, and that's a whole different. If people aren't prepared to get help, you know, you can only do so much even if you've been trained in a little bit of mental health, how to relate and respond. You're not there to fix them. If they're not going to actually go and get the help, that's the hardest thing Yeah, I can totally appreciate why you would do that. It's like anything, it's situational, isn't it? And when family first, you got to look after you and your family. And if you're not in a position to be able to help someone, you're not going to be able to help them at all. It's just going to turn sour,
I think that's
isn't it?
why you need a community around it, is because many hands make light work around supporting people, because it takes an emotional toll.
Yeah.
So you need people to be able to tap in and tap out and support them, because even insular within a single family unit, that takes a huge emotional toll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole surrender your license thing, and you can still go hunting, and that's a really good opportunity for friends to say, hey man, we're going hunting, do you want to come along? Like, really help that person out, don't leave them behind. I think that's a really important thing. If you guide them into that situation, stand by them for and help them through it and get them out there still. Don't.
And I know for me, like, when I'm feeling down, I'll say no straight away.
Yeah.
So like, hey bro, how about you come do this? Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm just gonna chill here. Yeah, bro. Nah, there's a space in the truck. Like, let's go. It'll be a great trip. Da-da. I'm actually pretty happy doing what I'm doing here, fella. Bro, we're going. You're coming. I'm gonna come round. I'm gonna pick you up at this time. Let's go. And at that point, it's like, I don't have a choice. Now I'm going.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I'm down, I am back in that thinking.
Yeah.
Actually, me turning up on their trip is detracting from their trip. I'm not no fun. I don't want to make their trip not good.
Yeah.
Back in that space. So like, I think it's the same thing of like, how you doing, bro? Yeah, but how you doing really? It's like, when we're trying to engage with people that are struggling with depression, it's like, hey bro, come on this trip. No. Yeah bro, come on this trip. Nah, we're picking you up and you're coming.
Yeah.
Like, I think like oftentimes we stop at the first no.
Yeah.
And
then just go on the trip, and that makes them feel, leave them behind. Yeah. I do know a few people telling me stories like that in Auckland. They're really cool to hear, eh? They it's exactly that. Nah, we're coming around. Get ready. It's like, cool.
You're coming, bro.
It's not a choice. Awesome, man. Hey, with what you've learnt now, and with people coming through, younger ones going through depression, not even knowing they're having depression like yourself didn't at the time, what would you tell your younger self? What would you tell someone now in hindsight, with everything you knew, as far as what step to take and when to take it? Or is there any words of wisdom you might throw out there?
I think the biggest thing is, as you say, bro, is actually the professionals are the best people to talk to. They've seen this a million times before. You're anonymous, so it's like you can actually just talk. But I think the other thing to me is like, everyone doesn't feel good at some point. And there's a fine line between things not feeling good for a long period of time and when you need help.
Yeah.
And so that picture of like, it doesn't happen to me, it's not going to happen to me, it happens to lots of us. And building the skill sets to be resilient, and building the skill sets to help you navigate those situations is actually a huge asset. It's like building skill sets at work. It's like building financial literacy. It's about like building skill sets at work. It's actually having those skill sets on board as a person, and instilling that, and having those skill sets in your family unit to be able to navigate those things. There's something to be hugely proud of.
Yeah.
And
totally.
so for me, that's how I choose to look at it. I didn't look at it then. I thought it was shameful.
Yeah.
I thought it was something that I didn't want to be associated with.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually something to be really proud of, is building the skill sets off the back of it. Yeah.
I think people that have been through depression are so much stronger than they give themselves credit for. Because you live this separate life for a little while, eh? And you're actually living two lives, and it's hard work. And to come out of that and then just live one life, it's just a dream. It is. And that's not to say it doesn't kick your butt again, but yeah. it's a good place to get to. And I think, just to elaborate on yours, it's we talk about getting help early. I think a big thing for me and what I try and advocate is I'm trying to educate people that haven't had depression to be proactive in their steps. Like now, like everything I'm doing now with mental hunts and talking about mental health and being an advocate, I'm being reactive to my own situation. I didn't sit and listen to someone and go, I'm going to be like him, because it never was there. I hope people are listening to this and knowing that there's, go to the gym. It's actually helping my mental health. Going in the bush, it's actually helping my mental health. Jumping in the sauna is actually, creating tools before they need them and being a little bit proactive in and being ready to ask for help when they need it.
And I'm crap at that,
education.
Yeah. Like, I'm crap at that. Like, I talk to my wife, like, Roy Mata will tell you, like, I'm terrible at looking after myself. Like, I will, like hitting dogs on the farm that will just work themselves until they've got like no skin on their feet and they get too skinny and they flop over by the fence. Like, for me, I'm that guy. Yeah. So like, I'll work and I'll work and I'll work and I'll work and I'll work until I fall over.
This country's full of people like you.
Yeah. And Roy Mata's like, no, we need to invest in our well-being. We need to invest in the things that look after our physical health, like being physically fit and active. We need to work on the things that we fill up our cup during the week that we enjoy.
Yeah.
We got to invest in doing things together as a family. Like that, to me, all that stuff is proactively keeping me well. Yeah. And to be honest, like, I don't manage that for my family.
Yeah.
My wife manages that for our family. And maybe that's a good bloody tip, is shack up with someone half decent. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I could agree to that.
It's like she just like, she manages the heart. Like I people say, oh yeah, we're quite traditional in our family. Like, maybe I'm the head of our family, maybe I'm the logic, but she's the heart of our family. Yeah. And she keeps everyone well.
That's exactly why we're going to be eating well tonight, thanks to my wife.
Wives, man. Wives.
Yeah.
Best thing ever.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Hey, I think we'll just about wind it up now, Sam. I just want to say thank you so much for coming out and publicly talking about the situation you've been through and letting people know it's okay, because it is hard. I know it's taxing, telling your story over again, and it can be scary of what's going to happen on the platform, but you see the bigger picture. It's going to help someone at some stage. So yeah, I just want to thank you for coming out and telling your story and for putting it in your book. It is a hard one to get people engaged in. They're scared to get engaged in it.
It's scary stuff.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, even when it's not okay, it's gonna pass.
Yeah.
100%
it will.
So.
And then, and like even now, I'm far out. It was only a month ago. I was back at my counsellor. Yep. Just life got busy and I just couldn't cope.
Yep.
Not to the point where I ever was before, but I just knew I needed that extra help. It's okay. And no, I haven't lost my license. I haven't surrendered my license. It's all good. It's okay to go get help. You've just got to look after yourself. That's my priority for people, because if you don't, it's a hard spiral to get out of when it gets deep, eh? Yeah.
I reckon it's one of those things where, like, I think the pathway for me is just to like reach out to someone, and if you know someone that's gone through this stuff, reach out to them. They'll point you in the right direction, because there's a bit of a formula, eh?
100%. No, thank you so much, Sam, and let's see if we can get you out and find you a tar.
Right, thanks for having us here. This is outrageous.
Yeah, it's pretty
hard.
Like
being in Alaska or
I'm
something.
Already starting to feel the week's pressure's starting to wind down. We're here now. It's like, okay, we can relax. So.
Totally. I'm looking forward to getting amongst it, brother. Thanks for getting us in here. It's bloody awesome. And
no worries at all.
Thank you for leading this co-pupper.
No worries at all. I love it. I enjoy it.